I feel like these are both excellent and a heavy-handed person's nightmare. Hi everybody, today I am going to be taking a look at the Zig Clean Color dot markers. These have been taking the planner world by storm. They work really well the way I've seen it as like checklists, things like that. People are utilizing these as sort of like a mild liner substitute or something. And I've had people ask me what my thoughts are on them, and I have been testing them out and utilizing them. I actually used them this last month in my Powersheets in lieu of stickers. As you can see here, these are the Zig dot markers, and I really like them for that. It speeds up the process. But I want to take a look at them, let you know if they are worth your money or not. And as you can see, there's a whole bunch of different packs. Let's talk really quick about these. They are a dual-tipped marker with the exception of this mild pack. They have a fine line tip that is a 0.5 millimeter, and the dot tip is supposed to go from 1 millimeter to 5 millimeters. I have got 4 different packs here. They are not the only packs. There are smaller packs where you of like these colors where you can just get a few of them, but I have all the packs here. It was kind of hard chasing down how many colors there are. If I go with what I am looking at right here, then there are 24 colors plus 6 metallic colors, but I could be wrong about that. It's not easy. Like even the Zig site itself doesn't make it easy to figure out how many colors there are. The packs I have in front of me price-wise on Amazon, this 12 set is $27.99. This 6-pack of the bright colors is $12.99. This 6-pack of the metallic colors is $16.99, and then this 6-pack of the mild colors is $13.99. These may not be the best prices out there, and I may have ordered some from different places. I've been sort of collecting them. Like this is a video I have scheduled a couple of times and then recently saw that there were other colors available, so I was glad I hadn't done it yet. So I'm going to bust out just this pad here. This is a Cultivate What Matters pad, and it's very thick paper, but it is plain paper, so that we can take a look at one of these markers and how they actually, work. And I'll take out one of the mild as well, because the mild does have the slight difference to it. The standard markers, the metallic, and these guys have 2 tips. There's a clear cap right here that covers the rounded big like dot tip, the main tip of the marker, and then this color cap right here has the fine line tip. So the fine line tip looks like this, very similar to certain other fine liners I've looked at, kind of a little smaller than a Papermate Flare. And then this is what the dot tip looks like. It is a rounded dot tip that's kind of squishy. The marker itself has what color it is above the barcode. This one is Hyacinth. It's very like smooth plastic, kind of got that matte feel, not a soft touch, but just a matte with like printing on it for the actual feel of it. And also notice that the dot tip just has the regular pen barrel, but by the writing tip, there is actually a ridged section to kind of give you a better grip when you're writing with it. The mild colors have a clear tip that covers the rounded dot, and they have a pen clip, which is not the same as the other dot tip markers, and there is no other tip on the other side, which if these are super pale, then that might make sense. Here is the rounded tip. When you place it straight up and down very lightly, that's when you get the dot that they say is the 1 millimeter. And then if you press down, you get the full dot. The situation you have to be careful with when I first started testing these is if you're not careful when you press down, you can get a whole bunch of ink spray over. It doesn't really bleed through because this paper is super thick, but it will bleed through on something else. You can get bigger dots, like you can get some variation, but what I have discovered in using them is that the smallest dot and the biggest dot tend to be the easiest ones to create. The skinny regular tip right here is just a standard 0.5 plastic tipped fine liner. Now here is the mild, and I want to see what the color is. That's very pale, so I can imagine that might be why they didn't include the writing tip. Now you can draw a thin line with your marker. You can press down and draw a thicker line. The problem when you do that is that the ink will super bleed through on your initial press down, and you'll see like a fading. You can see it here where there's like a lot of ink, like a saturated ink to a less amount of ink. So if you're going to draw a really thick line, you're going to know that your ink is not going to be as even when you draw it, and that you may have a bleed through at the beginning of it. Now you can get a thicker line without that problem if you kind of start with the lighter pressure and then press down, but it won't be a very even line. So That's just something to keep in mind. Here's metallic red. And again, the metallics have both tips. But the tips with the metallics are more of a bullet tip than a skinny 0.5 tip. The bullet tip for the metallic markers is 1 millimeter. One of the suggestions that they give you when it comes to these is to not press down too much with the pen, or it will bleed through the paper. It might bleed through the paper anyway, and that you need to store them horizontally so the tips don't dry out. So here are the tips of the metallic, and if you look here in the light, you can see once they've dried, there is a metallic sheen to it, but the red is not as noticeable. Let's check out like the gold or the silver. So there's the silver, much shinier than the red. And you can see the sheen there for the metallic. Now, one thing to note with these is that they are not fast drying. They're very, very, very inky, so just be careful with them, especially if you're a lefty. This is my Baron Fig pocket-sized notebook that I use for swatches. I'm going to create swatches for all of these right now, and then we will look and see how they bleed through on this 90 GSM paper. Couple of things before I move to the metallics. For one, the ones that have the dual tip, the caps, if you want to put them on, you have to flip them over, and they stay on pretty well. On either side, you turn them over and they fit in really nicely. The mild colors, the caps just go on the end like a normal pen. Looking at the bleed through, there's a shadow, but the only real bleed I got was maybe from the salmon, and I think I might have pressed down a little harder. But with a light hand, you'll get a shadowing, but not a huge amount of bleed through, not even from the black. I also want to take a second here before I swatch the metallics to let you know that if you want to match colors on the Powersheets, which is something that, since I'm using these in my Powersheets right now, having the colors that match. When I did it this last month, I didn't have the mild colors or these bright colors yet, and so my matches weren't completely right, but now I am going to see if I can get them correct. And so looking at them, you would need a mixture to get like the most precise colors. You would need a mixture of the three of them. This light purpley kind of periwinkle color would be English lavender from the mild set. This bright blue would be Bluebonnet from the 12 pack. This pale green is Pale Mint from the mild set. This darker green is Ocean from the 12 pack. The yellow is Summer Sun from the 12 pack. The pink is Pink from the Brights pack. The red is Red from the Brights pack. This kind of corally color is Salmon from the 12 pack. This peachy color is Island Coral. This bright green is Kiwi from the 12 pack. So if you bought all three packs, the Brights, the regular pack, the bright pack, and the mild pack, you would have matching colors for all of them. Originally, before I had this Brights pack, I used the pink, the candy pink from the regular pack. For this pink, it was just a little bit lighter, and I utilized a gray instead of the minty green, and I had like this darker kind of blue, what is it, the splash for this periwinkle kind of color, and I don't use the red or the yellow. But I'm just letting you know that if you buy all of these packs, if that's something you're interested in doing, you can find really nice matches for the Powersheets colors without having to use the stickers, because the little dot stickers are a massive pain in the ass for my tendinitis to put down. And now I am going to swatch the 6 metallic colors as well. A note about the metallic colors, not just do they have the bigger bullet tip rather than the super fine line point, but their barrel is black and it has like a sparkle to it. It also has that ridged spot near the bullet tip. quick note about the metallic colors. They go down a lot inkier. There's more shadowing for them than there is for the other colors. They go down very, very wet. Even I was using as light of a hand as I could. I know I'm a heavy-handed person, but like I was going as lightly as I could, and I still was putting down a lot of ink. So you need to be careful with that. The thing I am noticing the most is that the gold and the silver have the most metallic sheen. The blue, the green, the violet, and the red have a little bit of a sheen, but they are nowhere near as shiny as some of the other metallic markers I've looked at, like the Kelly Creates or the Pentel. These are nowhere near they have a shimmer to them, but it is much less bold, even within this particular pack. Like I can see it when I'm looking at it, but I have to strain a little bit more. I have looked at these in the context of planners, and in the context of planners, I can see uses for a lot of these. But, you know, one thing I've seen people talk about is like dot art. Like if I wanted to create like a bush, some like foliage. Like there's fun ways to draw with these, but that's not really my focus here because stippling art is very stressful for me and I am not really a huge fan of it. But if this is something you're interested in, I would totally look it up because these are nice. Like they're very squishy, they're very inky, but I would keep them horizontal because I can tell that there's a lot of liquid in these and you don't want them to dry out. Planner wise, which is what I'm thinking about here, I actually this month I am time tracking myself using the colors in my bullet journal, but I'm thinking that maybe next month, if I continue the time tracking, I'll want to use the colors from my Powersheets to track the time I'm using for my goals. That could be really awesome. The key here is to think about what it is that you want. I think that the regular 12 pack, what is it? This set right here, these colors, the 12 pack, is the most versatile set. You've got colors that are light enough to highlight with. You've got colors that are saturated enough that you can see if you want to write with them. With the exception of a couple, most of these are totally legible. If you want them mostly to write with and then a little bit of accent for the marker, I would go with these brights. And if you want them just for highlighting, this mild set is perfect for that. They are very, very pale. But I would suggest that this big 12 pack is probably the most versatile of all of the sets. As for the metallic ones, they are really pretty. And if you want the dots, then go for it. But I'm not a huge fan of how shimmery they are, and unless you want a dot metallic one. I've heard that these work really well in blackout journals, but I cannot for the life of me find my blackout journal, so I can't demonstrate that right now. But I would suggest that perhaps these would be best used for blackout journals because from what I've heard, they really shine, no pun intended there. But they're a little too inky for my taste with the kind of paper that I use. If you're using 160 GSM paper, I'm imagining unless you press down super hard, you're not going to have any problems with these. I think that they are super neat. I think that if you are heavy-handed, you need to be very, very careful with them. And I have noticed that a lot of ink tends to show up on them as you use them because they're so inky. So they have the potential to get messy the more that you use them. But what I will say is that these are really neat, and when I use them in my Powersheets for the little dots, or if you're using them in your planners for like check marks, which is what I'm seeing a lot from people. You can check out Julie's plans. She does a lot of it on her daily planner. It's actually really nice to be able to just go, if that's what you want to do, then these would be an excellent investment for that in terms of saving you time. The quality is really nice. Consider though, if you're going to spend money, really think about which set you're going to want because it can get pricey to buy them all. And it feels like the metallics versus the bright ones versus the pale ones, they serve different purposes. So just think about that. I'd love to hear from you in the comments below what pens you'd like me to take a look at. I have no idea how reviews are going to progress over the next couple of months as we get ready to sell this house and move, but I will keep them under advisement for upcoming videos. In the meantime, let me know if you use these markers and what you'd like to use them for or what you would like to use them for if you had them in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, and until next time, friends, peace out.